got a few hours to kill, and I'm in my old childhood neighborhood. And I thought I'd show you a bit around, look at the places I've been to when I was very young. What you see here is my old high school. So this is my last contact I had with this neighborhood. At the point where I went here, I didn't live here anymore. So once I left the school, I haven't really been here a lot. These stairs, very nostalgic. This is where we used to skateboard a lot. I was never a big skateboarder. I was never very good at it, but we tried to grind along these steps until some old dude who lived there got mad at us. They looked a bit taller when I was young. They're not very tall anymore. So yeah, skateboarding. Like I said, I was never very good, but skateboarding, part of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater generation, used to be a big part of our lives. Now, in this area, we will look at one of the most important neighborhoods of the area and one of the most important playgrounds as well. This is where we used to play card games. Yu-Gi-Oh! Being a big part of my generation, this is where we used to do it. This area right here. When you're a kid, like, you don't plan hotspots for things. You just know where people hung out, where people did certain things. And if you wanted to have a nice Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel, this is the place where you came to. These benches right here. There were no parking spaces back then, so cars weren't allowed to park here. So this area was just full of 10-year-olds trading Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. Every now and then we traded Pokemon cards as well, but nobody played the game. But if you wanted to play a duel of Yu-Gi-Oh!, this is the area you came to. This sand pit, the one story I have about that, there was one kid, he had a pirate ship, like a big pirate ship, and he used to play in that sand pit with his pirate ship a lot. That's the thing I remember. So yeah, this playground, very nostalgic. This bench, I've spent years of my childhood on, playing card games. You know, you had your playmat, plumped that down, the one that came with your starter decks. We didn't have like fancy playmats. So we plunked that down, one person here, the other person there, playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Great times. Lots of stories about this little, could you call it a river? It's more like a creek. Of times of us trying to jump over it, falling in, which is always our parents, don't do that, you're going to fall into the creek. And yeah, we did. I got my foot stuck in the mud one time, and yeah, my shoes were basically ruined. The most fun part, you see there's this bridge over there that made it really easy to cross the creek. However, there was a more fun way to do it. You can still see some remnants over here. So they had these stones, and there were stones in the middle there. So you could jump over the stones if you wanted to cross. Of course, that's a lot more exciting than taking the boring bridge over there. Over there is like part of the artwork, a little snail shell carved into it. I'm going to show it to you. It always reminded me of, is it Ammonite from Pokemon with the Helix fossil. That's what I connected to that. So let's go over there. That is this neighborhood's Helix fossil right there. This church was pretty cool, and even though the entire area isn't very Christian or religious in general, there was one very fun part about it. So we have that thing right there. So what we have here is something that collects water for birds to drink from. Now for me, that wasn't for birds. That's the perfect Beyblade arena, I tell you. We used to play Beyblade in that one until the people working here got mad at us. This is my elementary school. I used to go to an elementary school. This was the cafeteria. When I played the accordion, we used to practice in there every week. And at one point I started hating it and no longer wanted to partake. You see they have a nice figure there. That used to be a normal sign. I still have my photograph when I got to school in front of that sign with some of my closest friends at the time. So I want to show you a bit of the way that I went home. This is the area I was in every day. So there was a nice playground over here. Every now and then after school we used to hang out over there, talk about the hottest anime on TV, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Beyblade, Duel Masters, who remembers that? So all the way to here, I remember it being a way longer path. This is where I went with a friend every day. He needed to go that way, I needed to go that way, so worked out for us. There used to be a telephone box over here, and everyone knew that one friend who knew the phone number to some free-to-call hotline. So we used to stand in there and call these numbers for free, basically. Everyone knew some kind of code to put in there. So this is where the creek ends at one point, at a nice little pond. The duck pond. It's a nice area. I like being here. This was freshly built when I was born, basically. So a lot of young parents moved here with their children, and it really was a paradise for young kids to be in. So many people your own age that you can hang out with. So this is the duck pond. This is where we used to go in winter when the lakes and the water froze over. Thanks to global warming, water no longer really freezes over in this area. But this is where we used to go on the ice and enjoy winter. And everyone knew some kind of story of some boy he knew who went here after school, tried to cross the winter, cross the pond, and broke the ice and fell in, including his school backpack. Everyone knew some guy who it happened to. So if you lived in this area, you know someone. This house is where my best friend used to live. I used to ring his doorbell. We'd go out to the nearby shopping mall, spend our entire pocket money on packs of Yu-Gi-Oh cards, of course. And yeah, I no longer have any contact to him. We used to do everything together, but yeah, he went to another school. His parents moved away, not too far. Like it was very close, but when you're young, distance is very different. Distances were longer back then, especially in the time before smartphones. There were no smartphones. We couldn't just talk to each other. We used to have each other in ICQ, MSN, and that was about it. So after a few years, yeah, almost 20 years ago, we just lost contact, had new groups of friends, didn't really talk to each other anymore. This over there, that house, was our first flat. in the neighborhood. This is where we used to live. This area is where I learned to ride a bicycle. So my father used to push the bicycle with me on it, and I used to, hit the pedals, and then you just let go, and I was riding a bike right here where the bike tracks are. Many people I knew learned how to ride a bike here. It was a safe area, wide open field. My first bike ride. So let's go to the second flat we lived in. Right here, this house. This is where I used to live. Another friend of mine lived maybe a 3-minute walk away, but like I said, distances were longer back then, so it was always a big trip when I decided to visit him. So this is the area where I spent a lot of time in my, probably when I was 8, 9, 10, 11, before we moved away. And the area over there was the area where our parents always said, never go there, it's too dangerous. Of course we went there anyway, so I'm going to show you what it was like over there, around these hills, the sand hills, as they were called. Seriously, so many memories in this area. My friends and I, we used to play silly things. We used to pretend to be the X-Ducks, if you remember those, being Geekster and Slacks, playing Werner with our bikes, for my German followers who know who Werner is. So we are this whole area used to be so much bigger to me. Like, this used to be a forest. Whoops, there was a hole right there. Like, these trees, for me they were a forest, and I was always too scared to go there, because this is where the big kids hang out back then. The big kids being like maybe 2 years older than me, but maybe they went even to high school and not elementary school anymore. And the area behind these hills, the sand hills, there's no longer any sand, it's all grown over. But this used to be like just solid sand hills, and you could slip and then just slide down. It was very dangerous, our parents were right. So you can still see the remnants of the sand right here. So let's go up. This always used to be a big hike up this stupid mountain. And over here is just the greatest playground of all time. But yeah, it used to be dangerous. There were hornets' nests inside the mountains. So if you kind of grabbed the mountain when you fell down, you could grab a hornet's nest. And yeah, it just was very dangerous. And there used to be so much trash here. There used to be a broken car right over here. We were always too scared to play with. You see, these 4 things, to this day I have no idea what they actually are, but we used to call them the 4 giants. And we made up all kinds of stories of their magical power. Like when the sun is just right, like the light goes from there to the church over there, and it reveals some kind of big secret of the neighborhood where you could find a treasure. We used to make stupid stories like that to entertain ourselves. There was no internet. Well, there was internet, but not everyone had it. It was expensive. Many people stayed at dial-up, and it was harder to find things. This was before YouTube, at the beginning of YouTube, or My Video here in Germany. We used to have a website called My Video, which was the German YouTube, basically. So let's go over there to the 4 giants, because I have an interesting, disgusting, and very nostalgic story to tell you. The 4 giants the 4 magical pillars of the Kirchsteckfeld in Potsdam. To this day, I have no idea what these are. There are all sorts of weird artworks all over the story, all over this part of town. And yeah, they made no sense to us. However, it's too much stuff here. I'm not going to walk there. They have little holes in there. Maybe you can see it. Yeah, you see that? There's a hole right in the middle there. Well, what used to be my stupid childhood friend, and not the one I talked to you after a while ago. Well, what did he do? There was a hole, so he whipped his little kid dick out and pissed into the hole into one of the 4 giants. That just we used to think that was so funny. We were kids. You mean it's stupid? And yeah, this is the area we were never meant to see as children. Hornets' nests, like dangerous flowers, animals everywhere. But so much to explore and always interesting to see. I could show you more places. I could show you the store where I used to get my magazines, my anime magazines, my gaming magazines, the Mickey Mouse magazine. I could show you the place where my elementary school crush lived, who, like, I never told her that I liked her. I was like 7. However, like a few years later, when I was 15, 16, out of nowhere, she contacted me on some social media platform, asked how I was doing, and being the awkward teen idiot I was, like, I tried to play cool and be like, oh, I think I remember you, yeah, like hiding my excitement. Oh God, she is texting me, like this was my dream when I was 11. Like I ruined that chance. She never wanted to text me after I just was an idiot. Who knows what would have happened if I wasn't this self-conscious idiot teenager back then who was just unable to communicate with anyone properly. Yeah, so we're at the end. The creek is back, and this is the end of the neighborhood. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my little trip down memory lane, telling you a few of my stories. Maybe I'll do something similar, but in my other neighborhoods, they were never this special. Never as many people I knew, and as many areas as I frequented, because that's when the internet came and you just hung out on the internet. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.